Good morning, everyone. My name is Dan Hirschberger with WEINIG Holz-Her. We are coming to you live again here in Mooresville, North Carolina as a part of our next level event we've had yesterday and today. And we have a great session planned for you this time. We think it's going to be really educational and very informative. I'll be working with Kevin Grimion this morning. And what we would like to discuss today is the maintenance of the Edgebander. One of the most critical things that you can do in owning an Edgebander is to follow the prescribed and recommended maintenance schedule that we provide for you and give to you with the machine. And even when the technicians install the machine, we go through these procedures and explain them to them, but somehow, sometimes over the years, they seem to forget.
A little bit.
Or maybe they get a little lazy and they don't do them. But one of the most important things that you can do is to follow these maintenance procedures. So we're going to take some time this morning with Kevin, and we're physically and literally going to go through, and Kevin's going to talk us through these procedures, show us the proper way to do it, show us the proper lubricants, and a lot of really important information. So I think that you'll find this very valuable and very helpful. So I'm going to start. I'm going to turn it over to Kevin here. So Kevin, take it away. Tell us what we're going to work with. I know you got some things set up on the table here. Tell us what we're going to do right now.
Yeah, so we're going to go through the daily, some weekly, and some monthly maintenance issues or preventative maintenance, we call it really, to prevent you from having downtime or anything else. So 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a month can really save you a lot of downtime in the future. So some of the lubrications and tools we're going to use, we have two different greases, one for the track here and the beam. So the track grease, we use a track grease called Gletmo 805. This is a specialized grease for high compression and in an dusty environment. So this is going to go under the track where the panel is riding to prevent it from sticking, and that way we have a constant movement.
You know, one of the common questions I hear all the time, Kevin, is, oh, that grease is expensive. I got grease here, I can just use it. Does any grease really work, or do we have to use that special grease from Holz-Her?
This one we have to use. In this case, it is specialized. Not all greases are the same.
Right.
So,
right.
You know, you could put a gallon of WD-40 in your engine, in your car, but it's not going to be quite the same as, I'd say, the Castrol.
And it would run for a little bit.
Maybe.
Maybe. Yeah, so in this case, that's really important, because that's one common question I hear a lot is, oh, that grease is expensive. I have to buy it from Holz-Her. I got lithium grease or whatever. You know, we see that a lot.
It's a special application, and for this reason, it does take a particular grease for that.
Okay, yeah, because there are other lubricants we use on the machine that you could use other types for that. Right. But in this case, that one is critical, because what's the downside of not using the proper track grease?
Well, the board can slip. I'm sorry, the track. It's going to stick to the frame of the machine. Right. We're not going to get accurate positioning of the panel. We have very poor quality. The amps are going to go up on the motor.
Right,
the machine will actually stop.
Yeah.
You'll stretch and break the chain.
And excessive wear,
A lot of excessive wear on the machine, and it just wears it out very, very quickly.
Yeah, you know, one thing that I've learned and heard over the years as I talk to service technicians, guys on the phone, is as they're talking to customers and the customers are describing the problem, the technician on the phone will go, hey, well, when's the last time you performed, and they mention some maintenance procedure? And they're like, I don't think we've ever done that.
That's
and
right.
That's why they're having a problem, because they've never done what we recommended to do as a maintenance procedure. So these things that Kevin's going to talk about today are really important, and will certainly increase the life of your machine, and will increase how long it runs without problems and the productivity. So these are really important things. So even number one is a track.
Even the quality of the parts coming off.
Right,
is a difference.
These things all have an effect on that. Good. So the track grease is really important.
Track grease is very important. The next lubricant is we call it an N1 grease. This is this one off the shelf. This is for maybe when we do the lubrication inside, we're going to do the beam movement or any axis movements or anything that needs a general purpose grease. That's this one right here. So, and this one is compatible. Right. We can research this one out.
Yeah, so that you could buy from any other source. That one you can do.
Yep. 3-in-1. Everyone has this usually at the house. This is the thing to use. We're going to use this for any of the other moving parts. Okay. Now, you mentioned other people want to use something else different. They, oh, I have a spray, I have a silicone. The service department, especially the parts department, loves when people use silicone spray and graphite spray, because then you have to rebuild your machine every 2 months. So we do sell a lot of parts because of that.
Yeah.
But the proper oil, we have to use an actual oil. There's a reason why we use these oils and not something else that's better. There is nothing.
Because a lot of the lubricants, no matter what their brand or what they're used for, are specific to application. Grease is not just grease.
Correct.
Oil is not just oil.
That's right.
So all these spray lubricants are not the same.
That's right.
And so when we specify a specific type of oil or lubricant, it's really important that you use that, because it's going to increase the life of your machine. You're not going to have downtime. Something's not going to wear out or break prematurely because you use the wrong lubricant.
So, like let's say in the case of the N1, if you Google it, you can find an equivalent.
Right.
If you're not sure, please call us first. Call the tech department and say, hey, I'm out of the N1 from Holz-Her.
What else can I use?
I found this online. Can I use this? Can I use this oil? What can I use in an equivalent? Before you purchase a case of it, ask us. We will let you know. We don't have to buy everything from us, but there are some things that are compatible. And the last one is motor oil. Everyone has this around the shop. This is going to be a very easy application. We're going to use this actually on the glue station. So.
Okay, great. So these are lubricants that we're going to use, and as we work through the machine now and show you the actual procedures, we'll be using each one of these at some different time as we go through the machines. We're going to move over here to the Edgebander, and we are working on a Sprint 1329 Edgebander today, but it really doesn't matter which model machine you have. These procedures apply to every model of Holz-Her Edgebander out there.
You might have a little more, a little less machinery, but in general, the same procedures apply.
Right. It's the same for all models of Holz-Her banders. So let's move over here to the machine. We're going to start right here at the front end of the machine. Yep. And Kevin's going to explain what we're going to do here.
So let's say we like to use a phase of time of day and the amount of running that we do on the machine. So usually we do a daily maintenance, a weekly, a monthly, and then the semi-annual. These we usually leave for the technicians to do for a PM. So that's when they're really going to dig deep. They're going to take covers off, clean the sprockets, clean the machine out, inside and out. One of the most important daily procedures is just to clean the machine. And we recommend a vacuum. You can use an air nozzle to blow down the machine, blow the chips out. Just don't get the air nozzle into the components close. Do it from afar. So even under the hood, that's very important. We have a lot of seals and gaskets where the bearings ride, maybe inside the back of the motor, any axles. We don't want to blow the chips into anything. We just want to blow them away from the machine.
If you get that compressed air too close, you're literally going to be jamming that dust and dirt into the bearing or into the motor, and that's not what we want. We want to blow it away, so don't get it too close. And just as a side note, you know, Kevin mentioned daily, weekly, monthly, annual procedures in the owner's manual, in the book that comes with each machine. They are listed in there. So as Kevin goes through these things, you don't have to worry about writing them down and remembering them. If you've got the owner's manual, they're listed right there, just that way. Daily, weekly, monthly recommended maintenance procedures.
That's right. And it's actually broken down for each unit.
Okay,
specific for that machine, what to do.
Good. So it makes it easy if you're not sure what to do.
Great. So we're going to blow down the machine. We're going to come to the glue last because we have a few procedures we're going to do on that for the daily procedures there. But while we're under the hood, I'm going to talk about a little bit of the weekly. Okay. And this is where the 3-in-1 oil comes in. All right. So a little bit of oil more often is better than a lot at one time. Okay. So the 3-in-1 oil, any moving part we have, for instance, the saws that go up and down on the Thompson rods, we're just going to put a drop of oil on some of these linear guides here. So we could simply just put a little bit of oil. There's 4 rods here. Next time it moves up and down, this oil will get all over the rods. It's going to keep the seals. We have a dust seal to keep the dust out of the bearings that are pre-packed with lubrication and grease. It'll keep the seals supple, and that way they'll keep moving the dust out of the way, and they'll do their job, and the grease will stay intact. Anything else that has moving parts, we have the linear rods here, the guide rods. We have some linear guides that the units move in and out on. Down here, we just put a drop of grease, try a drop of oil here. Again, most bearings are pre-packed. And during the annual servicing, that's when the technicians are going to look for any dry bearings and grease them if necessary.
You know what's interesting, Kevin, is I'm out in the field and I get in a lot of shops. These maintenance procedures so far, you see they're very simple, but I can't tell you how many times I've been in a shop, they've opened the hood, and for example, this flush trimming station here, it's just packed with sawdust. You know, 2 or 3 inches deep on the bottom.
Right.
The unit, you can hardly see what it is. So, and then they wonder why it's not working properly.
Yep. I usually tell them, treat it like your car. It will perform the same way. But this is here to make money. So,
Right.
like I said, a small investment will make you money.
There you
and
go.
keep
Good.
it producing. So again, we'll go down the machine. Any of the guideways here that we see moving, we're going to lubricate those. We're going to lubricate these guides here underneath the spring of this here, and this guide
scraping
here,
unit.
the scraper unit, because this unit actually moves in and out. When it comes to the cylinders, some people ask me about, let's say, the air cylinders here. These don't need any lubrication.
Okay.
They are dry. There's lubrication inside the cylinder to lubricate the rod and the seals. So we don't need to put any oil or grease inside of the cylinders, and definitely no oil in the airlines.
Yeah, there are times when putting grease, like on that cylinder, for example, it'll do more harm than good because you lubricated it.
That's right. You've actually turned into a hydraulic system instead
Right.
of pneumatics,
Right.
and it becomes irregular.
Right.
So we'll tell you where to put the oil, where to
Good.
put grease, and if we don't tell you to put it,
Don't
add it.
Don't think you're helping it.
Yeah. Don't get too creative.
Yeah, exactly.
So a small drop of 3-in-1 on the moving parts, in this case, is the best.
Good. Okay.
That's one of the best lubrications.
Yep.
So, also in your daily, it depends on, like, when we say daily, again, we expect an 8-hour running day to be daily. So if you don't run 8 hours a day, the cleaning you're going to do, but maybe let's say the oiling weekly, we'll stretch this out and maybe into monthly or bi-weekly. We can expand some of these weekly, monthly.
So all the maintenance recommendations are based on an 8-hour a day running.
Yes.
So if you're only running a couple hours a day, 2 or 3 days a week, maybe you don't need to do this every week. So,
like your weekly becomes monthly instead.
right. So you can calculate and figure out when you would actually need to do that.
Along with that, we have the grease we showed you for the track. We give you a grease gun. It's also labeled with the proper grease. They're both labeled with what's inside. And this is going to be done again on the running of the machine. You have an hour meter in the machine. It's going to tell you when some maintenance needs to be performed by the hours. And this is for the track here. In my case here, I have 2 grease zerks that I'm going to put the grease gun on. While the machine is running and the track is moving, I can put a squirt into each zert there. If you have a longer machine, you might put 2, but we're gonna engage the grease gun again while the track is running and slowly put a pump of grease.
So that you cover as much of the track as possible.
Right, we want to get it spread out as much as possible.
So is it possible to put too much grease on there?
It is. It's not too detrimental. What happens is you'll get grease between the track pads and it'll start getting on the parts.
Okay.
But it won't ruin the machine. It won't cause any
If you
ill
take a
effect.
part out of the end of the machine, you see grease on it, you probably had too much
That's
on
right.
your track.
Or if you see in between the track pads, we'll see some
Yeah,
grease build up.
Yeah, okay.
Then we know, okay, let's put a little bit less.
So just a slow, steady squirt.
Slow, steady pump.
Yep.
And again, the technicians would usually recommend a larger machine might have 3 pumps. This one about 2.
Okay.
Smaller machine only
Good.
1. You might even, if you're looking at a machine purchase, you might even get, let's say, in the case of Illumina, has an automatic lubricator. It's going to do it for you because this is going to be one of the most.
Some of our larger machines, then your only responsibility is to keep the reservoir of grease full. As long as it's full, then you don't have to worry about it. And it's set up, it's programmed to put a couple shots of grease on the track while it's running every so many hours, every so many panels that go through it so that you get the right amount and you don't have to worry about that.
So another weekly thing we're going to do, usually on the Friday at the end of the week, is we'll take the motor oil here And we're actually going to lubricate the glue rod here.
Okay.
And we only want a small amount of oil. I want 1 drop for the week. And to control that, the easiest thing is not to dump it on. I usually get too much, is I actually just put my tool inside. I have just 1 drop is hanging, and I can just touch the rod, and it will wick off the tool here, and that will coat the rod.
Okay.
And give us just a little bit, it'll coat. At the end of the day, it's going to be warm and hot, so it'll really coat around. And that's all we have to do with the weekly for the glue rod.
Pretty simple, very easy.
Very easy. Now when we get to the monthly maintenance.
Can we just back up for a second?
Yeah.
Can you explain what the importance of keeping that rod lubricated? Some people refer to it as a dosing rod, because that's what's opening and closing.
Correct.
And allowing the glue to come out, to shut off. So why is that? What's the value of having that lubricated properly?
Right, for us, because we're injecting the glue, this is the gate that opens and closes, and we want to make sure the front of the panel and the back of the panel are covered with glue. So to make it consistently open and consistently closed at the same time all the time, this is important to keep it lubricated.
Because if it doesn't turn freely, then we can adjust it to make it. But then when it would be inconsistent. So we want the front and the rear to be consistently on and off. And so if the glue nozzle and the dosing rod is lubricated properly, it will always open and close freely, and we'll always have a good consistent glue line.
Exactly, exactly.
Okay.
When it comes into our monthly, our monthly, and every 3 months or however your machine is determined, this is when we're going to use the other grease gun here.
All right.
With the blue label on. So this is for the N1 grease we mentioned before. It's a general purpose. Usually we use like an opaque general purpose grease. And in this case here, let's get where Chris can see a little bit better, is the beam, the pressure beam that goes up and down for the panels. We have some grease zerks on it. Right back here. And we're going to put a half a pump in each zert. There's 3 zerts on this machine at each of the columns. There's 4 columns on the machine. There, one in this position here, one at the end trimmers. You can see this one. And the last one, there's another cover we're going to remove, and we're going to put a little bit of grease into those. If you have any of the axis motors, like for instance this one here has a grease zert, then we're also going to put a small amount of grease here too.
So Kevin, of all these lubricants that you've been talking about so far, which ones, some of them will come with the machine, right?
All
of these?
The greases come with the machine. The 3-in-1 oil and the regular motor oil do not, but the 2 main primary greases come.
Okay, great. So you get enough to start out with. It's going to last you quite a while.
And the grease gun.
Yeah.
Also.
Okay, so the
an
gun
actual full-size grease gun.
This gun that you have here.
Yes.
Right. So these grease guns that you see Kevin using, the greases that you see him using, they all come with the machine. So you have what you need to get started with.
That's right.
And it's going to last you a long time. You can imagine we're only using 1 or 2 pumps, and we got a pretty large cartridge of grease in there. So you're going to get a long use out of those before you would need to replace them.
That's
so
right.
The good thing is you have what you need to get started, and you don't have to worry about it. As soon as you get the machine installed, oh, I got to find the right lubricants, and that's where people end up going, oh, I've got this grease over here, I'll just use that, it'll work fine, and that's ultimately where you have problems.
Yeah, these 2 that are, let's say, the wet mow especially, and this one here, the proper one to get started with, and the other ones are off the shelf. We can find them at any automotive store, really.
Okay, great.
So, when the technician comes in for the semi-annual and annual, like I said, he's going to take off the back covers. He's going to look inside the track. He's going to do all the lubrication. He or she is going to do all the lubrications that are necessary for daily, weekly, monthly. He's going to look for problems, see if there's anything he can prevent from happening in the future.
Good. Yeah, that's why we call it a preventive maintenance, because if we come in, we hopefully can prevent something from becoming a bigger problem, or the machine breaking down and you being down for a day or 2 waiting for a part or a service technician to arrive. And so that's why these preventive maintenance schedules are super important. Just a nice visual inspection, looking the machine over, see if you notice something that's just a little out of the normal and not working properly.
And one thing to really help everyone out there is to keep a log on the machine. Okay, because what's going to happen is that you're going to call in a tech. You know what problems you had last month, let's say, that maybe led up to the reason why you're calling now. And also we can say, well, 6 months ago, I replaced parts X, Y, and Z, or I had an issue and this is how we resolved it. And you can maybe start resolving some issues yourself. And this way the technician also has an idea of what's happened with the machine in the history, and he knows what to look for.
Are there any provisions in the controller on the machine where you could record that information?
Yes.
Or you would know? Explain that maybe.
There is. Actually, even for each error message we have, for instance, there's a text box where we can type in and write in any messages that we want. We can also write in other text files.
Because that's really helpful. I know when you're troubleshooting and you're trying to find out what's going on, if you have a history of the problem,
That's right.
it just makes it that much easier to diagnose and figure out exactly what needs to be done to fix it. And fortunately, the way our controllers work on these machines, it's going to document and record every time an error message pops on the screen, anything
That's right.
it's going to be there for you. And then you can add notes to that says, well, you know, well, I turned on the machine this morning and da 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 da. So you have a better documentation of the issue.
That's right.
Great.
That's right.
All right, going on here, Kevin. What else we got?
Well, actually, that's primary maintenance. I mean, there's not much to it. There's a little bit of daily, a little bit of weekly, and a little bit of monthly.
Good.
And keeping up on that is going to keep the machine running smooth.
So I think the thing to take away from this brief introduction here is how simple it is. It's really pretty easy. But what you gain by taking those few minutes each week is huge on the other end. Because a year from now, 2 years from now, 5 years from now, as the machine has been used a lot and you have thousands and thousands of parts have gone through there, you're going to extend the life of the machine before you have any real issues with maintenance or parts failures or breakdowns or stuff. That's where it's really critical. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I'm so busy, I got so much work to do, I can't take time to do this. If you just were to stop at the end of the week, where we weren't talking about it like we were, and just did it, it might take you 10 minutes.
Yeah, maybe 10 minutes.
Right, if you're slow. So it's not a lot of time, but it's time well spent and really important to the life of the machine.
That's right.
Good.
So the last, we say the best for last, really, you could say, is it's one of the most important things as well. It's part of your daily maintenance, is the glue station. But we're going to do a little bit extra on the glue station. So I'm going to shut the hood. So one of the most important things daily for the glue station is brushing the nozzle. We supply you with a steel brush, and there's going to be glue inside the nozzle from the end of the day, and we're simply going to brush that out. For that, we're going to open the beam up and with the glue warm and brush it off.
Okay.
So I'll warm up the glue to get started. So at the end of the day, your machine should already be hot from running, hopefully. Don't feel bad, you can't do it too much. It's a steel brush, a hardened steel nozzle.
Right.
You can't go wrong.
The nozzle is much harder than the bristles on that brush. So
definitely, for sure.
You're not going to damage it.
As a matter of fact, some people want to get a brass brush. It ends up just folding over and not being effective. So use a steel brush.
Not going to hurt.
And we'll just get out a little bit of that glue. It's sort of like brushing your teeth at the end of the day. If you don't do this repetitive, you get that tartar build up between your teeth. So then you're going to start lacking glue. Your glue line is going to become smaller, and we're not going to get enough volume on the panel. We're not going to be able to control this consistently for the panel. So we do want to brush it at the end of the day. If you think you're done at the end of the day at noon, go ahead and do it. If you run it later, you can do it again. So just don't forget that. This is one of the most important things.
So we're going to open the beam as far as we can to get access to the nozzle.
Yep. So you can actually see on the lumina behind me, for instance, it has a belt drive. But when I lift the belt, I can see down here that the glue nozzle is right here. And when it's hot, I can simply brush the nozzle right here and brush that extra glue off of there. Okay. So this one has a little bit from extra from running. We were actually running PUR yesterday with this one as well. And I'll brush it while it's hot. And that's it. So it's a very, very quick thing to do. It takes less time to do this than brush your own teeth. but don't use this for that. That's gonna hurt.
That wouldn't feel very
So that's a very critical thing on the daily maintenance.
Yeah.
When we come back around this side after we've blown off underneath the hoods, is to brush the nozzle.
Well, every station and every unit on the machine is important. The glue nozzle is probably one of the most important, because if that band doesn't adhere properly to the panel and you've got issues, it's going to fall off, and then you got bigger problems down the road with your parts. So
that's right.
That maintenance is quick and easy, but really, really important. Good. All right. I think we got one other process we want to describe here with the glue station.
Yeah. So we were actually running PUR.
Okay.
And so I have the end of the glue cartridge now of the PUR is consumed. So we're going to put in one of the flushing agents, and we're going to go ahead and flush out the PUR.
So one of the most common questions we have now is in regards to running PUR. And we're just going to take a moment and explain that, because this is a really important maintenance procedure. And we can switch from EVA to PUR, PUR to EVA very quickly, very easily. And so like Kevin said, we just finished running PUR glue. That red cartridge that you saw him put in there is a cleaning agent. So we're going to purge out all of the old PUR glue with this cleaning agent. Now what this cleaning agent does, it pushes out the PUR glue that's in the nozzle in the glue system, but it neutralizes that PUR glue so that it won't cure, so that it won't harden inside the glue system should there be a little bit of residue left over internally. And this is really important, and it takes just a few minutes. But one of the other things I want to mention, because people always have a lot of questions about running PUR glue, is that when you're working with PUR glue, it's not like it's going to cure immediately. You literally have 8 hours. You can go to lunch, turn it off, come back. You can take a break and come back. The only time you need to worry about cleaning all that glue out of there is at the end of the day, because you don't want to leave it in there overnight, because it will harden at that point. So at the end of the day, we've turned the machine off and on numerous times. We're all done running today. We're getting ready to go home. So this is what you're going to do. First, you're going to take that red cartridge, which is a cleaning cartridge, and then Kevin will explain what we do after that.
So your glue temperature should already be set for PUR, and if your glue is hot, we have one button we press here, and I can see my cartridge is inside. And as it consumes the cartridge, it's just going to count down, and that glue is going down through the whole system and flushing the entire system, and as Dan said, also deactivating. So just in case we miss some bits here and there, it won't be a problem. Once it's deactivated, we can wait a week. That small amount will still melt again, and we can move it out as well. So what's happening is we have a catch bin on the other side of the machine. So we have a tray right here. We're actually catching the glue is coming inside, and then the red agent will start to come in and make a pancake, if you will. And we'll see the red purging agent slowly coming in. So right now it's still glue is coming out. We have a small remaining amount of glue that was inside the nozzle, and then the purging agent comes out. Okay. This is one I did yesterday. I had half a stick of PUR left over, so I went ahead and flushed it out. We put a piece of paper inside just to make the machine stay nice and clean. So you can see the remaining glue, and then the red agent started coming out. When it was purely red, then we knew we were done. And the station is neutralized and ready to be turned off, and we can walk out.
I think it's important. Let me get around here where we can see, but if you're running PUR glue, and on a regular basis, I think it's just a good habit to get into. At the end of the day, maybe the shop supervisor, whoever the last person out of the shop before they turn the lights off, is that they walk by the bander and they look for this red pancake. If you see this, then you know, okay, I'm safe to leave. I don't have to worry about it. And we'll come back in the morning, turn the machine on, and run it just like always. If you don't see this, if you just, we coach or train people, leave that in the Edgebander.
That's right.
So then it's real easy to tell
it's been done.
that it's been done, right? Because if it isn't, you're gonna end up with a boat anchor in the morning that's useless and you can't do anything with. It's gonna cost you a few dollars to you're gonna have to replace the heating, the waffle heater, and the nozzle.
Right.
Yeah, it's gonna be a few dollars to fix that. So
it's not scary to run. I tell everyone it's like doing cement in the wheelbarrow. We've always done it. We opened up as many cans as we need at the moment, and we open cans throughout the day of the PUR as we need them. the 8-hour window starts over every time we open a can.
Right.
And at the end of the day, you rinse out the wheelbarrow with water. In this case, we use the red cartridge. We'll rinse out the station, and then we'll be done for the day.
Go home and relax. Good.
The next morning, we'll just push a little PUR in to get the red coming out in reverse.
Right.
When we have glue, we're ready to rock and roll, ready to run.
Yeah, once all that red is done coming out, you see the pure white or opaque, whatever color glue you're ready. And again, that takes minutes, literally minutes. And that's the real plus of the Holz-Her glue system, is that whether it's PUR, EVA, I can switch back and forth. We don't need any accessories to go with our glue system. We just change the glue.
That's right.
It's that simple.
Whether it's a color, if we go to PUR, polyolefin glue, we can just simply put it in, purge until the next color, the next type of glue is ready, and we're ready to run.
You know, this week, yesterday and today, we're here at the Next Level event in Mooresville, and I talked to several customers, and they came up to me and they go, what do I need to do to run PUR? One guy said, what do I need to add to my machine to run PUR? And the answer is nothing. And we explained to him, show him how simple it was, and he really didn't realize that with his current Holz-Her Edgebander, it was an older model, he could still run the PUR without any issues. So that's a real plus that people need to understand, and it's real simple to do.
Now, I've had a few people ask me, can they leave it in overnight? So every PUR formula is a little different. In this case, the one we're running is about an 8 to 10 hour window. Some people can leave this in, but only when they're in high production. So if you have multiple shifts, maybe one shift ends at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning, they've just put PUR in, then the morning shift's going to come in at 6 in the morning. That's less than 8 hours. So they only have to flush on Friday.
Right. So you're good. Yes. The key is that 8-hour window.
8-hour window
from the time you open the can. Right?
That's right.
Once you open it, then the time the clock starts ticking. That's right. Good. Good information.
With the meter on the machine, we can see exactly how much we have. So at the end of our run, we know that we only have 10 liters left. We don't have to open a new can. We can just run out till we're done, and we're done for the day.
So it's really nice because the controller on our Edgebander will tell you how much of that cartridge is left in the machine before you run out. So you know how many parts you have left to edgeband, you know how much is left of the cartridge, and you're like, oh, I don't need to open a new can.
Exactly.
Save on wasting glue.
To look at it now, we see that the flushing agent is completely
gone. We're down to the
and the you can see I have a nice.
Well, this is it's hot.
It's gonna be warm. So we have the new pancake here, kind of running down. So if we don't see a strawberry pancake, we know it's not done. So this one happens to be red. Sometimes they're blue.
Yeah, it depends on the brand. Yeah, they have different color cleaning agents.
So
but that way, it's real obvious which one's the glue and which one's the cleaning agent. There's no question. Good.
All right.
I think that's it on the Edgebander side. And while we're standing here in front of the machine, I want to go over one more thing. It's a brand new product that Holz-Her has, and we just this week, yesterday, the first day of our Next Level event, we introduced this, and you can see, you've probably seen in the background here, this brand new return conveyor that is attached to this machine here in our showroom. And this is a brand new product that is being built and manufactured by WEINIG Holz-Her right here in North Carolina. We're building these ourselves to match up and to be connected with our Edgebanders, and it's a brand new product for us. We're really excited about it. We think it's going to be a great addition to our product line, and the real benefit is that we're building these ourselves in our manufacturing facility that we have right here in North Carolina. So this is the first one. Kevin's going to run a few parts through, nothing special about it, but what's nice is that we can build these specifically for each model of Edgebander that we have, each length, each size. They have panel turning, they can handle large panels, some very small, narrow parts. And so this is the very first one, and we're really excited about having it here. And you know, nothing special about it, but it's a return conveyor, and it works really well with the Holz-Her Bandage. So keep your eyes open, pay attention. We'll be coming out with more information, pricing, specifications about this thing. But these return conveyors are really great. We love the design that they've come up with, and we think they're going to be a great addition and very helpful with our Edgebander product line. All right, so that's just a quick, brief demonstration on the return conveyor. If you're interested and you would like more information, contact your local Holz-Her sales representative. We can get more information to you, but we're excited about adding this new return conveyor to our product offering. And so as we wrap things up here today, if you have questions about any of the maintenance procedures we described, you can just call our technical service department here in Mooresville. They'll answer the questions for you. You can put them on the screen there underneath the video, ask questions there. But Kevin, thank you. Great information.
Thank you, Dan.
We appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed that, and have a great day.